So the dad comes out on stage right as you're starting to process what happened, right? He's got this like hand broom and dustpan, and he starts like sweeping up all of the vomit and blood and pus and like human effluents and then even the dead dog at this point. He's putting it into a garbage can and not saying a word. And then just lights go out, right? And you're like, well, what's the name of your act? He says, The Aristocrats.
I love
it. Should we? Oh, we're rolling. Okay. All right. Well, welcome to the podcast. This is the Video Reformation with Ben Oliver
and Justin Plant.
We are the co-founders of Storyboard Media. God, I wish we were a video podcast right then, because those dance moves you were just showing off.
Was that a dance?
It was a type of dance.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, we could do an entire episode on why we're not a video podcast, and that would be a lot of it. Just the dancing that we do trying to throw each other off while we're doing these episodes.
You got through it pretty well.
Yeah. So, let's see. We are going to continue our kind of walking through the 7 phases. We last week covered post-production.
That's right.
Today, we're going to be talking about distribution.
Mm-hmm.
Before we get into distribution, it appears that we have a new sponsor this week.
Yep.
Yeah,
it's true.
We just can't keep anyone around for more than 2 weeks at a time.
We've covered this. We only give. I mean, there is a lot of power in our endorsement,
That's
and
true.
most companies don't need more than
the one episode.
The one episode.
Yeah.
But so as you know, sometimes companies just send us stuff in a pile, in like literally a pile
with a check,
a pile of cash, a check.
Yes.
This is one of those.
Can you make a pile out of one bill?
Suppose it. No. I don't think so.
We got 4 quarters from someone once, and we made a stack of 4 quarters.
But they didn't send any copy.
Okay.
On this one, it was just in the box, and you tried. I know you loved it. I loved it.
I mean, I'd never go back to anything different.
Sorry.
That doesn't feel like a setup at all. Let's treat our sponsors with the respect and gravitas that they deserve.
Right. Well, it's called You're In.
Okay.
Yes,
it is.
But ultimately, it keeps you from peeing on the floors. I can't quite go into detail.
I can.
As to how it works. But just respecting some of our listeners.
Sure.
But it is a fantastic product.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So
it's what I'm not. I mean, I use it for every day, like at the office use, right?
Right.
And it has just changed my life.
You can do like 3 or 4 other things while you're, going number 1.
Yeah.
And you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. While you're going, I think that's a tagline we suggested for them is do number 2, 3, and 4 while you're going number 1. Yeah, and then they didn't want to just get into what number 3 and number 4 were, but
I think they didn't want to pay for it.
But I'm interested, given the complex nature of the device itself. Do you sleep in it, or do you find yourself actually like putting it in and on, like, when you get up in the middle of the night? Because I know that's a problem for you.
Yeah. So I wear it at all times.
Sure.
But it only works within a certain radius of a toilet.
Oh, you've got the 3000.
Yes.
Oh, I haven't even tried the 3000 yet.
Yeah. Well, I went and upgraded as soon as they sent.
It's geocached, right? Like you set a little homing beacon on your toilet,
right?
The toilets you commonly use,
sure,
or urinals.
And when 5G gets here, I mean,
it'll pee for you,
basically.
Yeah.
So You're In. Thank you for I don't know, sponsoring this podcast and helping our listeners out.
Yeah.
The female version is coming out in 2022.
Okay.
So.
All right. Well, yes, thank you to our new sponsor. You've changed our lives, and I imagine you'll change the lives of many of our listeners. Many of our listener. Wow, we are on today. Okay, so on to our discussion of distribution.
How appropriate.
Yes. Let's talk about how to successfully disseminate your video content today.
Do you want to start by defining what we mean by distribution?
Sure.
Sorry, back up. We're on the next layer. We're above strategies in the bottom layer here.
Right.
The next layer is pre-production, production, and post-production.
Yep. You've made the things.
Yep. Next layer is distribution and promotion. So today we're just covering distribution.
Yep.
There is quite a gray line between the two.
Yeah.
So how would we define distribution?
I define distribution as putting your video content out there so that it can be found in its broadest sense. So we'll talk a little bit about some of the places you can do that, some of the tools that you can do that with. But talking about the gray line between distribution and promotion, first of all, we call it a gray line because depending on the scenario, it's just easier to say this is distribution or this is promotion. But it works. It tends to work to say that distribution is putting it out there so anybody can find it, and promotion is targeting specific people. So basically bringing it to someone. So distribution isn't. Distribution could potentially be a tree falling in the forest and nobody hearing it. Right. Because at its simplest form, you could upload it to your web server, I suppose, and embed like a Flash player. I would recommend that. This is a bad example, but you could do that, and technically you've distributed your video.
Sure.
And so that's why distribution and promotion often go hand in hand, is because then promotion is a way to say, these are the people who I want to see this video, these videos, this content. And so I'm going to either with a hashtag or with targeting ad campaigns or retargeting campaigns or programmatic channels, whatever, I'm going to actually put it in front of these people who I want to see it.
Yep.
So they definitely go hand in hand, but you could totally distribute it a way that nobody actually sees it. We're going to talk a little bit more today about how to distribute it so that people will find it. And then in our next episode, we'll talk about targeting it to specific people.
Yep. Perfect.
Okay. So let's just start with where you would distribute video content.
Sure.
What are some of the channels that are typically used for distributing video content?
Most of it is web-based, I would say.
Sure.
So you already mentioned one, your website. Great place to put your video content.
Yeah.
Email is a channel.
Yeah. Like individual emails or like marketing emails?
Well, you know what? Is that technically promotion then?
Interesting.
So it's a channel, but if using that channel, you would then be promoting the content.
That's true.
But it's not even distributing. It wouldn't even be putting the video out there. You're calling people to a site because video cannot be played in an email anyhow.
Right.
So, yeah. Sorry.
Well, not reliably anyway.
Yeah, Apple's testing that. They've done some work. I can't wait. I mean, for the day where you can just watch an email.
Yeah, that'll be great.
Or watch a video in your email. Watch an email.
Watch an email. Yeah.
Social channels, obviously.
Let me get back to email real quick, because I think it's worth noting too that, I mean, we kind of jumped ahead to like when you can play a video in an email in the email player.
Client, yeah.
But I still think that's still novel enough. We did a test, I think it was, I don't know, maybe it was longer than a year ago. It feels like it was about a year ago. We did a test where we had created some sales video content that were going to go into sequences. And in our initial pre-launch testing, I think we had just put, I think the first line of text said something about, hey, I'm Justin, wanted to reach out to you about XYZ, check out the video below to whatever. And then there was just a thumbnail, right? A static thumbnail image from the video.
Yep.
It wasn't a link, at least. We knew it needed to be.
It was a link.
It was a link.
The image was a link.
The image was a link, but it wasn't like just like a hyperlink, like a text hyperlink, right? So there was an image in there that was a thumbnail. Because we live in this space, we thought that would be enough. And what we found in our small test case was that people didn't actually know to click on that to play the video. So it's like they were reading, watch the video below, and then they skipped over the image, read more text, and they're like, where's the video?
Right.
And so that's an instance where, and these are smart people that
we're marketing to marketers.
Yeah. And so you'd think that they would know, but even then, they needed a play button on that thumbnail in an email to know, in addition to the actual text context, to say, check out the video below. And then they click on that, and then they end up on a landing page. So, maybe the playing video in email will take away some of that novelty still. It'll make it more accessible, but that's almost more where we are now, is that people don't get that an image can be a video.
Yeah, even Vidyard defaults to adding a link.
Yeah.
Like a text-based link along with the thumbnail. So.
Okay, so email
is a promotion channel. Technically, according to us.
Yeah.
Now, social, you can lump a lot of stuff in that, anywhere from obviously the Instagram and Facebook, LinkedIn is a social channel.
Twitter.
Yep, Twitter.
Snapchat, TikTok.
All these, that's correct. You're a big TikToker.
I'm a big TikToker. Yeah.
You've got an astonishing amount of followers.
Yeah. I mean, it's a nom de plume that I use.
Yeah, if you search for Ben Oliver the Third.
Yeah.
You won't.
If you know, you know.
Yeah. Well, that's the name.
Yes. Damn it. Okay. So social channels definitely. So website, email, social channels.
YouTube is one of those that is a channel, and it's a place you can just put video. It can also be a place where you promote video. It can be a hosting platform. It's a whole bunch of things. It's really an amazing tool.
Yeah, it does have its shortcomings, but it is free, and it is. What's the saying? It is the world's second largest search engine, behind Google. So good for them for owning both of those. It's an interesting one. We'll get into it a little bit more when we talk about hosting platforms in a few minutes.
So in that case, Vimeo is also along those lines, where it's a place that people will go and kind of look for stuff.
Right. Well, and I think the behaviors between YouTube and Vimeo are very different.
Yes.
The user behavior. I think user behavior. I saw
and the content, of course.
Just yesterday, I saw that 97. It was 94 or 97% of 18 to 24-year-olds have used YouTube in the U.S., and that is just a stunning amount.
Yeah.
97%. Even if it's 94%, that's a stunning. But it's used differently than Vimeo is used. People tend to go to Vimeo to find
cinematic,
good quality kind of create, and I don't want to say that YouTube isn't good quality, but they go to find that more cinematic, maybe artsy.
Yeah, you'll find a lot more shorts there.
Yep, shorts, jorts, capris, all those.
Yeah, 3/4 length.
Yeah. So Vimeo has always kind of positioned itself as a place for, oddly, creators, even though YouTube tends to use that terminology so much in a lot of their literature. But also going through the YouTube certification stuff, what's interesting about YouTube is how they set it up where even when they're talking to creators, they're saying create content that's going to be good for our advertisers to advertise in. So, because Vimeo doesn't have any ads, they don't have that approach at all. It's make what you're going to make, express yourself, and this is a place to show off that kind of stuff. And so a lot of people, I do think Vimeo is the second highest trafficked video site out there. So there are a lot of people going to it, but they're going to YouTube to say, how to change my carburetor, and they're not going to Vimeo necessarily to say how to change my carburetor.
That's true.
Is a carburetor something you can change? I don't know motorcycles.
Yes. Yeah. The intent there is different.
Yeah.
Which is what makes YouTube such a powerful advertising tool, because it's intent based.
Yeah.
Another one is in person. You know, think about walking by a storefront and seeing ads, like, or just content there, like at a booth at a trade show.
Yep. That's what I was thinking.
You know, it's just playing there at all times.
Yep.
What else we got?
I think there's even more to in person. I think you've got opportunities where video can be a part of your presentations. If it's a sales presentation or an internal, department presentation, that kind of thing. With video, you get to show and tell. That's a lot of what a presentation is. Why not, if there are parts that are, better told by someone who can't be there, why not capture that on video and make it a part? So I think that's another way that people come at it from such a marketing perspective all the time that sometimes they forget about some of those, opportunities to use video. So that would be another thing that we would consider distribution, because that's where you're putting it so that people can see it.
We've got to be missing something, but in terms of channels, those are kind of the more oftenly used channels.
Yep, because those are external, those are internal. Even if it's an email to, your entire company for some kind of internal comms thing, you're focusing on using, email as your channel.
Or in person.
Yeah. So that's a lot of places for video to go. Do you put video in each of those places individually? Are there ways to streamline any of that? Is there a way to host it in one place and distribute it out to multiple channels? How does that typically work?
Yeah. Well, most companies will use a hosting platform. It's just a lot easier than having it all run off of your server. That may sound like an obvious thing, but some people just may not know that.
Right.
There are a lot of hosting platforms out there now. They essentially let you house all of your content and publish it in many different ways. So you could have that one video file living on a streaming, service, a hosting platform, and you could put it out there.
Like YouTube or Vimeo or any of the other more specialized ones.
And then from there you can embed it on your website. You can publish it to social channels. You can gather the statistics that you may want about the viewer behavior.
I think that's the thing that differentiates as we go through some of the hosting options. To me, that's the big differentiator, is the analytics you can get. As you go through the different options, you get more and more access to and flexibility with data. User behaviors, capturing information, tracking information, all those kinds of things. And then so, of course, you pay a premium to have access to all of that information. So why don't we start at, I guess, the bottom of the price list.
Sure.
Let's start with the free option.
There are quite a few freebies out there.
Yes.
That do an excellent job.
YouTube is unless you're advertising, which would be a promotion conversation, YouTube is always free. Vimeo has a free option. Wistia has a free option still. I don't know that anybody else has a free option.
Yeah.
When you get into like Vidyard's Go Video and Wistia's Soapbox, I think those are free options, and they're all limited by like currently Wistia's free option gives you 3 videos.
Sure. And it keeps their
limit.
Branding on the player.
Yeah.
You can't customize anything, and you have limited access to data.
Yeah. So that's fine. If that's all you need and you don't need that access, then great. Wistia is a nice player.
It looks nice. It's fast.
Yeah. I think a lot of people tend to default to YouTube, though. So many, and I get it. It's free. It's easy to use. It's searchable. And I think that's something we want to talk about in more depth also is making it searchable too. You know, optimizing that stuff. We'll get to that in our next section. But you know, and then you're able to embed a YouTube video into your website. You're able to put a link into any of those social channels, and it will usually convert that into the video to play right there in the stream. So why wouldn't everybody use YouTube?
We often recommend that our clients use YouTube to the fullest advantage, right? If it's a huge search engine and you want that content to be found, chances are it can be found on YouTube, or people will go to YouTube to try and find the answers you're.
Yeah, I think that goes back to that intent
right.
Of the platform. People are going there to, you know, learn about AI basics or, you know, how to change a carburetor, whatever. YouTube has changed some of its features over the past years, but, you know, when you had an account, you couldn't always keep people contained. There are a lot of times, you know, there's all those videos on the right side of the screen that is telling you to click. Yep.
There's a lot of distractions on YouTube.
Yes.
There are other reasons not to rely entirely on YouTube would be the viewer behavior data. You're very limited in terms of what you can understand. Now, the YouTube account and Google Analytics and pre-roll campaigns and all that stuff does kind of build into a bigger statistical data lake, for lack of a better term. But
yeah, once you're paying for running campaigns. And,
but as a free tool.
And one of the things that I find so frustrating about the data that YouTube provides is that it's they seem to have designed it to aggregate all of your video content. I feel like its default mode is, for everything that you've published, here's how many views you have. Here's how long people have watched. And I feel like it loses that level of options as you dive into individual videos. I think all the data's there, obviously, to aggregate it. But
which is so annoying.
It's just harder to find.
It. I wish they would unlock it.
Yeah.
For business.
Yes.
I can't believe they haven't just offered an enterprise level or a business level.
I swear I saw something about it 6 months ago, and I went to look for it earlier today, and I couldn't find it anywhere.
I mean, you can have branded channels, but you can't quite get the statistics
but
you
want. And you can't get like built-in calls to action like
Yeah.
you can with some of the other platforms. I mean, that's a big thing. If you're using video, you know, on your site and through other channels to actually capture leads and like identify MQLs, YouTube, that's a functionality that YouTube doesn't do at all.
Right.
Really, is let you capture that. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't embed a YouTube player on a landing page that has a form right below the player.
Right.
But we're talking about, you know, people's attention spans and distractions and all that kind of stuff. Like, might as well make it as easy as possible and have that form open in the video player.
As that submission form connects that data, that user who entered their information, connects that data to the CRM, you don't get any of that viewing behavior data along with it.
Right.
It doesn't attach. So yes, you can still have that site and like a landing page, embed a YouTube hosted video, and put your HubSpot form on the site. But you're not gonna know that this person watched these 6 videos and has a score, a lead score of 92%.
Yeah, no, and those are things that Wistia and 23 and Vidyard and Bright Cove can do. Vimeo now has 5 different levels.
Yeah.
It seems like every 6 weeks they're coming out with a new level of service, and I can't keep up, and they do a really poor job of allowing their prospects to self-educate.
Last week, for one of our clients, I was trying to figure out this enterprise level. And yeah, there's nothing on the site about it. So I had 3 separate calls, all in one day, all different people. And just to find out if I could connect a CRM and do that sort of like lead tracking and
attribution.
Yes, exactly. And they're like, oh no, sorry, we can't do that.
Yeah. So
they went big on live And
Yes, they did.
They went really big on live, and now that's all they've got.
Yeah. So with Wistia, with 23, with Vidyard, with Brightcove, you can actually, when you capture a viewer's information, those, if I'm not mistaken, all of those platforms will actually backfill data and show historically. So it'll track, via cookies and whatever. And so it'll know by a cookie how many videos you've watched, through that platform.
Even if you only filled out the form 3 weeks later.
Yeah. And then if you ever then fill out the form with, name, email, submit, then all of a sudden it attaches that information to the cookie, so it can look back all the way through your history and say, this is how many videos this individual watched, how long they watched. You can set up lead scoring. You can tie that to your CRM. You can get pings. You can do all that stuff. That's hugely valuable information in the marketing and sales processes.
So let's talk about some of those more advanced analytic platforms. Where can we find, do you have a preference? How would you lead someone to the right platform?
I think, there's so many similarities. I think a lot of it has to do with the volume of video content you're creating. For example, Wistia's first level paid plan, I think it's $99 a month, and this is always subject to change, but as of today, it's $99 a month, and you get 100 videos included, and it's 25 cents per additional video. So if you've got a video library of anywhere around 100 videos, it's probably worth it to be able to get an unbranded player, to get those analytics, to get those viewer behavior analytics, the integrations, those kinds of things.
That's what we use for most of our content.
Yes.
Is a paid Wistia version.
Yep. If you've got more than that, I think, especially if you're integrating video into sales at all, I think Vidyard is a great platform. You just get some more robust features. You get access to some you've got access to custom integrations. Whereas Wistia, I think, restricts it to HubSpot, Salesforce, and Marketo, maybe. We'll fix it in the show notes if that's not right. You can basically pick one. Yeah, here it is. One premium integration with HubSpot, Pardot, or Marketo. Whereas,
so not even sales, so it's not really.
Yeah, so it's not even Salesforce. It's a very much still a marketing platform. And that's fine, because they know there's plenty of opportunity for marketers using video that they don't need to, get into how it can work for sales. Vidyard, 23 to a lesser extent, they're a newer company, and they've got a lot of
Swedish, right?
Danish?
Danish?
Scandinavian
Right.
company.
They're up there.
Yep.
It's like the European Canada.
We I guess technically we're an agency partner with them. We tested their platform for a while and found some really promising things.
Pricing was great.
Pricing was fantastic. They've got a really intuitive lead scoring option where you can very easily go through and set the parameters by which a lead that has entered their information can actually be scored based on how many videos they've watched. You can set it by how long they've watched, if they've repeated. It just basically has sliders, and you can go through and weight different behaviors.
Yeah, and you can almost test in real time and get that feedback right away. It's fun. But why don't we use them anymore?
Well, we don't use them anymore because they have serious, I don't even know what the technical term is. They got data issues. It takes a long time for the player to load. And if I'm going to click play, I expect something to start playing immediately. And if I got to wait 2.5 seconds for it.
Sometimes it was up to 8 seconds.
Yeah. It would just, it was those flashing lines it was loading.
Good internet here. It's not an issue.
It wasn't on our end. Wasn't my fault. So that was disappointing, but we still have access to the platform, and as they figure those things out, they've got an interesting approach. Vidyard is more focused on video in marketing, sales, and customer success. So they've actually designed their platform to integrate with, for example, Salesforce. They've even got a Salesforce dashboard, reports template
kind of thing.
That's an out-of-the-box kind of add-on thing where if you're using Salesforce to track your deals, you can actually go back to the point where, as long as your sales people are using it properly, using Salesforce properly, you can actually attribute revenue to videos watched, which is a great tool for any marketing or salesperson creating video to be able to have, to say, hey, our video, the $300,000 that we invested in video this year generated $8.6 million or contributed to $8.6 million in our revenue this year, whatever it is.
Some of you out there may be wondering, well, doesn't HubSpot offer video hosting now? And they do at a certain level. The reason I didn't bring that up during hosting platforms is because it's actually provided by Vidyard.
Vidyard, yeah.
It's a deal they worked out. I think it's very smart. It closely ties the two companies together and helps them on both sides just learn more about that process. I mean, the fact that you've got all of your video content in your CRM with the horsepower that Vidyard provides is a phenomenal option.
I think it's worth noting also that we are, as a disclaimer, we are agency partners with Wistia, Vidyard, 23.
That's it.
Bright Cove? Or we never heard back from them?
We don't work with big enough. Basically, they partner with us so that we can bring them leads. And that was all that he was interested in. He was like, so who do you have on deck? And I'm like, I'm just trying to learn. He's like, okay.
Okay. So maybe not Bright Cove.
I mean, we have clients that might be good for Bright Cove, but he didn't give me the time of day. I'm like, I don't know. I need to learn more about your platform. I'm not just going to hand you my clients irresponsibly.
Well, and that's really what an agency partner is. And again, more disclaimer stuff. With some of these agency partners, we get referral fees. And with some of them, we don't. But
that does not influence.
That doesn't influence us at all.
It's minimal.
It's really about understanding our clients and what the right solution is for them. And then we've got the relationships where we can make that handoff instead of just saying, hey, you should use Vidyard. And, direct our clients to, the website and just say you want a demo. Like, we're actually able to connect them with our rep who connects them with the sales rep and walks them through, and we're very involved in that process. And so that's really why we're an agency partner. And the better we understand, right, that's why Bright Cove is a problem, because we can't recommend it if we don't know how it works or who it should work for. So that's why we're an agency partner with the people we are agency partners with.
It's worth mentioning that there are a number of platforms out there, Facebook, LinkedIn, where you basically get extra points for uploading natively.
What do you mean extra points?
Their algorithms are proprietary. I don't know exactly how it works, but
more likely to show up in someone's feed if you're uploading a file
rather than posting a YouTube link or embedding a YouTube video.
And the logic there is clear, right? I mean, you don't want people to leave your site. So if you're LinkedIn, you're going to, give additional points to someone who's uploading the video to YouTube, and people are going to stay, LinkedIn, as opposed to YouTube, because they're going to stay on LinkedIn, as opposed to having that little YouTube logo in the bottom where they could click that and you just end up going to YouTube and you're not on LinkedIn anymore.
Right.
We had some issues, just like with 23, we had some issues with LinkedIn.
They're working through
native video, and they've gotten a lot better.
They have.
But they had some basic compression issues.
Right.
I mean, they were overcooking the hell out of everything we were uploading. We were, I'm not saying we were in a test, but it's, a test group, a beta test or anything. But as soon as it was available, we tried it, and it was just, the quality was unusable. But we now use native uploading on LinkedIn because they've gotten a lot better at that too. So, I mean, things change month to month. And so, if you're listening to, this is, August 27th, 2019 when we're recording this. If you're listening to this in March of 2020, things could have easily gotten better or worse or more expensive or more complicated at any of these places.
Another benefit to using something like Vidyard, my guess is Bright Cove has an option like this.
But we don't know.
Even 23, is being able to, from Vidyard, publishing to YouTube. So you can set up folders that just if I know that I want these videos, you may not want all of your videos to be publicly accessible, right?
Definitely.
Some of them you want just for customers. Some of them you want more privatized in
Some
the
of
marketing
it's proprietary information. Some of it's pitches. Yep, all kinds of reasons.
Well, Vidyard gives you the ability, and others like them, they're more enterprise level. They give you the ability to have your own sort of like video libraries on your page. But they also give the ability to publish to YouTube, publish to other channels. And that means that all of the information that YouTube is going to gather, as limited as it is, it will gather and it will feed that information back into Vidyard so that
so it becomes a repository for all of your...
Yes, so that the views that you capture on YouTube are not lost in the Vidyard data.
Yep.
And so it kind of centralizes some of that process. And so you can even set up folders within Vidyard so that, if you want these ones to be on your YouTube channel, as soon as you upload them and organize them in such a way, they automatically publish to YouTube. And you don't have to, go publishing or uploading to 5 or 6 different places. You can do it all from one spot.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk a little bit, just to keep our audience from having to Google things. Let's talk a little bit about pricing for these platforms too, because there's a wide range of pricing. Because as we've kind of gone through and gotten to these more complex analytics and more bandwidth and all those kinds of things
just
that
finally
are just
started
part of it.
Pricing.
Yeah, so the people who at least share their pricing, we wouldn't share anything proprietary or whatever, but the people who publicly share their pricing, of course, YouTube is free. If you want to run ad campaigns, that kind of thing, that's going to cost money. But, just to have a YouTube account to be able to host on YouTube, totally free. Vimeo has a free option. And then, as of right now, they've got 5 paid options. On Vimeo that go from $7 a month to, I guess, custom. So Plus is $7 a month, Pro is $20 a month, Business is $50 a month, and Premium, which is that first of the kind of top 2 phases where they really go big on live streaming, is $75 a month. And then they've got this new enterprise level where they don't publish, it's all custom pricing. But I imagine it would be more than $75 a month on average, just because of the way that they structure these out. So those are certainly reasonable numbers for a small or mid-sized business. Wistia, again, it has that free plan, and then it's got this $99 per month pro plan where you get, I think earlier I said that it includes 100 free videos. It includes 10 free videos, and then you're paying a quarter for each additional video outside of that.
Big difference.
That is a big difference. So that $99 per month, and then their second is kind of their advanced, where they kind of customize it, and depending on the integration that you need, whether it's that HubSpot, Pardot, or Marketo.
Some of those are one-time fees.
Yeah,
some of them are monthly.
That's the level that includes the 100 free videos. It has A/B testing included, so that's kind of custom pricing. And then,
can you speak on what the A/B testing is exactly? Because some of the other platforms have similar.
So A/B testing is just like you would do A/B testing for email or website, anything like that, where you can actually set 2 test groups.
Is it a different video or a different thumbnail?
You can change
player settings.
I don't know about the different platforms specifically, but typically you choose what's different between the 2. And you're just uploading 2 different options, or you're selecting a different thumbnail, or so it could be a 90-second version and a 30-second version, and you want to embed it on your site. It'll embed the A/B test on your site, so if you pick certain types of people to get one over the other, or if you randomize it, it will at random either load the 30-second video or the 90-second video, and then you can put that data next to each other and say, we got twice as many plays on the 30-second video as the 90-second video. What you might infer from that is that people are willing to give you 30 seconds to say something, but they're not willing to give you 90 seconds to say something.
Or you might see that the people who watched 30 seconds bought 10% of the time or converted 10% of the time, but the people who watched a full 90 seconds or at least 80% of that video were more likely to convert. And therefore you would just want,
And you can also, you could have the same video and you could test different thumbnails just to see which one is going to get you the most plays or click-throughs or whatever. You could test different calls to action and kind of turnstile forms at the end. So you could test whether you want to put whether you want to gate something at the beginning, in the middle, or the end of your video also. So there's all kinds of flexibility in there, but that is, again, one of those more advanced options. It doesn't appear that Vimeo at any of its levels has that as an option. Wistia has it in their custom option. So again, they're at $99 for their, a month for their package, for their standard package, and then it's custom after that. Kind of the next step up from that price-wise would probably be 23. I don't know, 23 and Vidyard are pretty close, but 23 they kind of take a different approach. They're a lot of their platform is big on webinars. So being able to actually host
really cool webinar stuff.
They do a lot of really cool stuff with a lot of things. And they'll figure out the other problems
That's
later.
just a compression issue, I'm guessing.
Yeah. So they're big on webinars. They've got a lot of cool features about basically hosting webinars, promoting webinars, hosting them, and then being able to like send them out after the webinar.
It's very automated. It's a
all in there.
experience.
It's a great interface. It's easy to do. It'll even send out like registration emails, reminder emails. You can set to people who'd registered but didn't attend. It'll say, hey, sorry you couldn't make it. You can send a sorry you couldn't make it email with like, here's the webinar so that you can watch it. You can set when it sends that out. That's very cool. So if you're doing a lot of webinars and that's pretty much what you're doing, $199 a month. Then they've got their video marketing platform, which is that more apples to apples, video hosting, analytics, pushing to other channels and capturing those analytics. That's $499 a month. You put those two together at $699 a month. So that's the webinars and the video marketing platform. And then they've got these customizable enterprise, which gets to a lot of internal comms and things like that. They actually do list, it seems like it's custom pricing, but they do list the starting price as $2,500 a month.
Okay, geez.
So that's a different world. Even $700 a month is a different world than the $7 a month for Vimeo Pro or Plus or whichever one that was. And then Vidyard is kind of in the same place. They have, of course, they've got their free forever, which limits you to 5 videos, but then they're at $150 a month. The next level up is $850 a month, and then of course their enterprise is totally custom, and that's multiple integration. That's basically whatever you need. We'll find a way to make it.
They're great to work with through the sales process too.
Yes, they are. So that's everything from free through $2,500 a month and more. So depending on how much you want to integrate that data, how many videos you're hosting, how many channels you're publishing to, all that kind of stuff. Those are really the key points that help you decide which platform to use. And they're all perfectly good. 23, maybe give it another 6 months. They'll figure some stuff out.
Yeah. We should have told them that we didn't, what the issue was.
I think we did.
Okay.
I did at some point.
Okay.
Okay. So anything else on the hosting platforms?
I don't think so.
Okay.
That is everything there is to know about hosting platforms.
Yes, the definitive guide to video hosting. So next I want to talk about briefly, we talk about distribution as this way to put video out there so that anybody can find it. But what might be some ways that you can actually increase your odds of people finding your content? So let's say you put...
This is the gray area. I think that's maybe why this is last.
It's last because it kind of sets up, promotion. But if I upload a video file to YouTube, to my brand channel on YouTube, and I've used this example before, it's explainer video ver2 final .mov. If that's what I upload and I don't actually type anything into the titles, that's
the title.
That's the title
by default. Yeah.
And I don't think anybody's actually searching YouTube for explainer video ver2 final, right? So at the very least, if you're think about the going back to that intent. What's the intent of people using YouTube? A lot of it is learning how to do things. So, optimize your titles for YouTube behavior. Maybe it's, how to change a carburetor, if that's what it's about. I mean, I wouldn't name it that if it was about, anything else. But because people are going to search for how to change a carburetor, and then your video is more likely to show up. So that's where, to me, that still fits in distribution, because what you're doing is increasing the odds that anybody can find it.
Sure.
It doesn't mean you're necessarily targeting anyone specifically. You're just not setting it out there and closing your eyes and crossing your fingers and hope that somebody stumbles upon it. You're using your titles. In addition, you're writing a description that has keywords that are searched for. You're selecting the right tags. You're creating a compelling thumbnail. Everybody's been on YouTube and they search for something and you got, a dozen options on that first page. Well, usually it's the attractiveness of that thumbnail that gets people to click on, this video. They might look at how many plays something has and say, oh, if a lot of people are watching this, but if you've got an optimized title with an optimized description and you've got that more engaging thumbnail than another video does, then you're probably, you're just as likely to show up in the search, but then you're more likely to get that click because it's, it's that face. There's a person there. There's clearly, the topic that's being covered that could be different than the title of your video, for example.
But that thumbnail that you've optimized for YouTube is probably a different thumbnail that you would use on your website.
Yes.
Because maybe you want to have a more branded look on your site, a more clean and polished look, and on YouTube you want to have a more DIY help looking video.
Yep.
It may be the same exact video, but your thumbnail can be very powerful in that way.
Yep. And if it's on your site, maybe it needs to align better with your brand guidelines and your website design, and so you create a custom thumbnail that is just seamless with the design of your site. But then that's not going to get anybody's attention on YouTube, so it's a different thumbnail for the same video on YouTube. I think we can also get into some of the common mistakes that people make here too when they don't optimize. So if I'm making a video, it's probably going to be in standard HD 16:9 aspect ratio, right? It's going to be that rectangle. But if I upload that video to Instagram, and I don't resize the video when I'm posting it, I'm going to cut off the edges.
Right.
It's just going to show that square. So if I've maybe put in any kind of graphics, titles, lower thirds, captions, anything like that, if I don't, shrink it down in the post to show me the full video, I may cut off those edges. And so it's worth knowing, again, this is why strategy is the foundation. Hey, we're going to be putting this on Instagram. So why not go ahead and, if you're at the very least, optimize your graphics, your visuals for that square aspect ratio. But why not just create an Instagram version that could be a square aspect ratio?
Sure.
Or a vertical if you're going to do, and
if you're committing to social, phone viewed.
Yeah, and this is maybe a little bit more about promotion, but if you're doing an Instagram story, ad, or even if you're just doing a post, right? Make it so that it looks good on vertical. Maybe do a vertical cut. And again, this is why you do all of this strategy planning before you even shoot, because if its sole purpose is to be an Instagram story ad, you might as well shoot it to be vertical video instead of just re-editing a version that way. So I think another thing that really gets me too is the time constraints that a lot of social channels give you.
Cuts off, it's seemingly,
Yeah, it's Instagram is 60 seconds.
Yeah.
Or, and I think Twitter is something like, a minute and 40 seconds for some reason. But, if I've made a 2-minute video and I'm putting it on either of those platforms, somebody's going to get half of the way or 2/3 of the way through it, and they're not going to probably see my CTA, which is at the end, right? So, again, we might be dabbling into promotion a little bit, but, make some promo cuts. Make some stuff that's less than 60 seconds to give people a taste of what the video content is, and that CTA actually be driving people to a landing page that has the full 2-minute video on it.
Yep.
So you can actually get people moving from that social channel, and that's a really hard thing to do. is to get people to leave whatever channel they're on.
Yep.
I mean, that's one thing that we've noticed with so much of our work. And Instagram makes it a little harder because they don't let you embed links. You have to, like, put link in bio and all that kind of stuff. But, like, man, nobody wants to leave the Instagram platform to go anywhere else, right? I mean, it's good that they have IGTV now.
Yeah.
Because now you can just put a longer form content in IGTV. You can set it up as a post. It'll give you the first 60 seconds as a teaser. And then all you have to do is say, keep watching on IGTV. But nobody wants to go to YouTube from something that's in their Instagram feed. Audio is another big thing.
Yeah.
So many social platforms, you know, Instagram is something you can turn off or on per session, but, you know, most videos start autoplaying without any audio. So you've got to figure out ways to get people's attention with either captions or titles or something interesting visually in those first I saw, again, something else yesterday or maybe over the weekend that, you know, that said something like 76% of video views on Facebook never turn the audio on.
Wow.
An astonishingly high number of people who will just watch through.
It's probably because they're doing it while they're at the dinner table and they don't want to.
Sure, yeah. You know, or they're in the bathroom and, you know, they don't want the person next to them hearing what, you know, the Jelly's marble run that they're, you know, that they're watching or whatever.
I forgot. How did that one pop up in your head?
It's just because that's what I do in the bathroom.
Jelly's marble
Jelly's marble runs.
Every time?
Not every time.
Wait, they have multiple. I thought
they got a ton. Oh, no, there's a ton.
Oh, okay.
They have the Marble Olympics. They have
holy shit,
all kinds of, yes. It's like, I think it's Jelly's, like Jelles. Jelly's marble runs. You will lose the next 2 hours of your life. So don't go there until after you finish listening to this episode. So those are all things where you have to consider your distribution channels and respect where it's going to be distributed so that you can optimize for those individual channels, which is why we're always saying video is a practice, not a deliverable. Because you can't just write, shoot, and edit one video and expect that it's going to work perfectly in all of the ways that you can use it. You could restrict yourself to using it in one place, but you're not going to get the return that you can be getting on it. And so all of a sudden you're going from like one video, but then it has like 12 different versions because you've got the YouTube version that has this different thumbnail and the email version has this animated GIF thumbnail and the promo, the website and the promo and the square aspect rate, like, but it's all the same content, but you just have to optimize for each of those channels. What haven't we covered with distribution? I think I can kind of tease our final two episodes in this arc a little bit because we could potentially, again, talk about like targeting specific people with the descriptions certainly and tags. That's making stuff findable, but once you start to use hashtags, to me that qualifies under my definition of promotion because you're targeting people who are following certain hashtags. If you're just tagging something on YouTube, that helps it come up in searches. It's not necessarily targeting specific people, people following certain things. We could probably also talk about analytics too, but that'll be our last episode in this arc after promotion is, the types of data that you can get. We've touched a little bit on the richness and the depth of that data, but in that episode we'll actually break into what some common metrics are, which ones you should be tracking, which ones you maybe don't need to pay as much attention to, that kind of thing. That will probably come back to a lot of the reasons why you may not want to use YouTube and you may want to go to something paid, because you can track certain behavior in other platforms that you can't get that data from YouTube. So, if we're keeping it to distribution, I think we've pretty much covered the basics. Be
a good start for someone who's just, maybe not so familiar. There's any number of ways we can go deeper on a lot of this stuff, and I'm sure we will as we continue to do the podcast. But for now, it's a good starting point.
Yeah, this is episode 12. At some point, we're going to have to, come up with some idea for episode 206. And
Jesus,
my guess is we'll just take a deep dive on, optimization. and it'll be a shorter episode, but it'll be more information about that stuff we just skimmed over. So, all right. So there's a basic conversation about distribution. I think we should take some time to thank our sponsor again.
Yep. And again, yeah. Unfortunately, they didn't send any copy along. I'm not sure what exactly they wanted us to say. It's not a video pod. I can't show you.
I don't think you'd be allowed to.
And
well, that would give
feel
it the explicit tag.
Yeah. Nor do I feel appropriate explaining it because it gets personal. But just know that me and Ben and the other fellas in this office have not gone back to urinating the same way. The sponsor is You're In with the apostrophe RE. So thank you to them. I mean, they sent.
Oh, I get it. You're in urine.
That's right.
Ah. Okay.
Yeah, and so thank you. Like, I don't know. There was no return address on a package. Like, all we can say is thank you for the money and the
anytime I get any unsolicited medical device in the mail, I'm more interested in figuring out how it works.
Yeah.
And using it than I am in, like, maybe this was supposed to go to a urologist or something like that.
Right. In fact, I didn't even look to see if it was addressed to us.
Well, there were 4 sample kits.
Yeah.
And there were 4 of us in the office here.
Yeah.
So you just assume they knew.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to clean these things, are you?
I don't think you can.
Yeah. That wouldn't be.
That doesn't make sense.
No. All right. Well, thanks to our sponsor, You're In. Do they have a website or anything?
Yes.
Like a hotmail? Okay.
Yeah.
What's the website? You'rein.com?
I don't remember. When you're in, you're in.
.net.
.net.
When you're in .net. Click the microphone at the top, put in storyboard for a free gift. A special applicator attachment.
It looks like their site is down right now, but I'm sure they'll get that back up.
That's probably just because of the boost in traffic from the sponsorship. The live listening to this. Maybe they sent packages out to a whole bunch of people unsolicited, and like 9 people are like, what is this thing?
That wouldn't be smart from an attribution standpoint.
No, it wouldn't. Okay, so thanks for listening to our insane ramblings. Rate, review, subscribe, blah, blah, blah. I think I talked in the last episode about why don't you do that at the beginning of the episode?
Yeah.
Like, if anybody's going to make it to the end of the episode, they're probably a subscriber or rater or reviewer already. But then I saw this really shitty video from some guy while doing some research for a new client of ours. Mm-hmm. It was just some dude, like, sitting in a copier room with, like, a University of Maryland sweatshirt on.
Oh.
And it was this very technical, it was like life sciences lab kind of talk. And it was just this dude sitting there in a sweatshirt, and he started his thing with, before we get started, make sure you like, subscribe. And I was like, never would I start. I'm just going to read the post. I'm going to stop. I'm going to hit stop right now. I'm going to read the information that's here, be a little bit smarter.
He was all spread eagle and stuff too, like
He was man spreading right into camera. He was, yes, it was not a very well done video.
And he was
he was in like a glass bubble or something.
Yeah.
But, go Terps. Fear the turtle. So anyway, I totally get if I heard, rate and subscribe at the beginning of a podcast, they'd be like, fucking get onto the real sponsor.
Yeah.
No podcast has fake sponsors.
Yeah, get to the real sponsors.
To the real sponsors. All right. Well, you will hear us next time on what will be lucky episode 13.
Is it?
Yeah. Okay. It's about promotion.
Good. It's what I'm most about.
That'll be a fun one to figure out what could possibly go wrong.
Ooh, we have a Friday the 13th coming up soon.
Maybe we should record it on that day.
That would be September? 2 weeks. Yeah. It's the 13th of September.
Is it a Friday? We wore it all the time.
Oh yeah, I forgot I even had it on.
You just gotta turn it on.
I forgot. Gotta start it.
Just pull the ripcord,
Yank it.
give it a couple yanks, and you're in.
You're in. But it is so comfortable that you forget you're wearing it.
I find that it more is just generally numb to the area, so I can't feel it anymore. I mean, feel free to laugh audibly. Don't hold it back in to like deprive me of the laugh. Nobody can see us.
No.
No?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So anyway, $12 tickets. The show starts